Hi there, and welcome back to Hillbilly Storytime, Pentest Fails with me, Adam Compton. As always, the stories and situations are true, the names and locations have been changed to protect the innocent. Well, let's see where we can pick back up with our brave heroes of Cheap Pentest or Us this week. I think this week we're going to be doing a story on physical pen testing. So let's go ahead and get started. Once upon a time, there was a company, let's call them Acme. They had contracted Cheap Pentest or Us to perform an on-site physical penetration test of two of their locations. Well, this is fine and all. After going over some of the scoping documents, questionnaires, things of that nature, it was determined that there would be 3 team members sent out, as always. It was going to be consisting of Charles Ray, the senior, John Boy, and Billy Bob. As always, they have been given the tasking as to what to do, and as the senior, Charles Ray was the one to decide how it was going to be broken up. As there was 2 locations, he decided he was going to take on one of the locations himself and delegate the other location to the other 2, John Boy and Billy Bob. So, going over to the first engagement with Charles Ray, he shows up at site. This particular location happened to be in a city, so he couldn't really park at the location, so he decided to park elsewhere, walks up to the location. It's a larger office building. He scopes out the front of the building. Nothing really out of the way there. Big glass doors, guard on the inside. Walks around, sees a loading dock. Maybe he can get in that way, who knows. Walks on around, he sees the other side of the building, in which the entryway passes straight through the building. Another big set of glass doors. The guard from before is watching him through the window, or can see him through the window there as well. There's a set of elevator banks, and he's got a little bit of an idea of what can go on here. He looks at the neighboring buildings. Is there other buildings nearby, what he can make use of? He's taking notes, going along his way. He plans on coming back later that afternoon to see if he can get in the building as people are leaving for the day. So he might have a lot of the evening hours to go through the building, find what he wants. So he waits. He comes back later. It's around closing time, around 5 p.m. He sees a lot of people leaving. He tends to walk in. As they're walking out, the guard is distracted by watching everybody come in and out. He's not able to detect Charles Ray as he sneaks through the turnstile and gets over to the elevator. He pushes the button on the elevator to go to a different floor. He gets onto the elevator, goes up, and he's just waiting for one of the doors to open. And whichever floor he tends to open on is the one he's going to get off and start browsing around. So he gets off, he starts walking around. He notices lots of computers unlocked. He notices papers left out, things of this nature. He's in there for a good half hour walking around, no one questioning anything he's doing. Well, he finally decides he's going to sit down in an office, get onto one of the unlocked computers, and start browsing around. Well, he sits down, starts browsing around, and quickly notices there's something that doesn't feel right here. The background logo on the desktop isn't right. Some of the names of things around the walls aren't right. He gets up, walks around a little more, finds some stationery with a letterhead on it. This isn't Acme. This is a different company. He's managed to break into a totally unrelated company, get in, and walk around for a good half hour, 45 minutes at this point. So he manages to gather his stuff together, leave the building quietly, and hope that no one catches on. So he goes back to his notes, double checks the address. He had transposed 2 of the numbers in the address. It was the next block over. So he then proceeds to go to the proper location and try to do the same sort of techniques to gain access and look around. He ultimately does gain access and has managed to walk around for a while. He finds lots of unlocked doors, computers, things of the same nature, and proceeds to do his engagement after having done the exact same thing to an unrelated company. So let's move on to John Boy and Billy Bob and their location. Their location is not in the city. It's out in the suburbs a little bit. There's parking out front, so they drive their car up and park. It turns out that there's actually 2 buildings at this location. So, okay, while the contract had said for 2 locations, it didn't specify that there was only 2 buildings. So they're like, okay, we can deal with this. We'll do one building first, and then we'll hit the other building second. So they go up to the first building. They walk in. No issues, no questions, no anything. They're walking through, oh, this is great. They walk through. No one's paying them any mind. They walk through. They see some paperwork on the floor. They're looking around, can't find anything here. Nothing really valuable out of it. There is some paperwork on shelves, on printers. Nothing really valuable, but it is there. Then they continue on. They find a few unlocked offices. Nothing really out in front that they can make use of, but they're taking notes as they're going. We're going to come back. See, they didn't prepare. They didn't have any sort of USB devices with them that they might be able to plug in, any sort of jump boxes that they might, or drop boxes that they might be able to plug in and gain remote access. They're like, great, we're going to get this and we'll be right back. So they're walking through and they come to the back door. They're like, this will be a great way for us to come back in. Let's go out and see where this is. They walk out. The door shuts behind them. And they're in a fenced-in area with a gate on the side, luckily, that they can get out of, because they turn back around, try to open the door again, go back in, and it's locked. They can't get back in. No way in. So they turn, walk out the gate, walk all the way around the building again, get back to the front. This time, there's a receptionist sitting at the front. Wasn't there before. Maybe was gone to a restroom or off to a meeting, who knows, but there's a receptionist there now. They walk in, try one of many pretext attacks that they have. They're from IT, they're here to see somebody, something of that nature. Nothing works. Receptionist says, leave your name and number, and I'll hand it off to somebody, and they'll be back in touch with you as soon as they can verify that you're supposed to be here. If you can wait here if you wish. Well, they say, well, we'll be right back. We have to get something from the vehicle. They turn and go back outside, ruling that one off for now. Maybe they'll come back to here later and try a different attack. So they move on to the second building. This time, Charles Ray is sitting in the car and he says, John Boy, as you're new and younger and all that, do you want to try this one on your own? He's like, yes, I think I can do this one by myself. Charles Ray is probably just being lazy there, didn't want to get up and go inside again, or he truly thought that Billy Bob needed the extra experience. Not really sure. So Billy Bob gets up, he goes inside, he starts walking around. Here again, no initial resistance. Not really finding much in here. Most of the rooms in this building are locked up, no real papers left out, but he does find the copier room. He walks into the copier room. There's nothing in the copier itself that he can make use of. There's nothing sitting around his mail that he can make use of, but there is a very large recycle bin there. Secure destroy bin, if you will. It's where you can put in your sensitive documents, things of that nature. A company comes by, collects it later, and shreds it, destroys it, something along those lines. He sits there quickly, tries to pick the lock, can't get it unlocked. So it's like, he sits there and thinks for a little minute. A few moments later, Charles Ray in the car gets a call from Billy Bob saying, hey, can you come around to the side entrance? I have something, and can you open the trunk? He's like, okay, sure, I can do that. So he drives around to the side, opens the trunk, he's sitting there, has the car running, and he sees through the glass door into the side entrance, Billy Bob pushing the Secure Destroy recycle bin, which happens to be on wheels. He's pushing it out the door. Well, he's pushing it down the hallway to the door. What he doesn't notice, but Charles Ray does notice, is behind him is a guard walking, shaking his head, just looking down at him, shaking his head. As he gets to the door, he reaches over, taps him on the shoulder, and then proceeds to question him. What are you doing here? What's going on? Why are you taking this out? Billy Bob tends to fumble his words a little bit. He's not really comfortable. Ends up, they have to burn their cover story. They have to pull out the get out of jail free card, explain that they were there to do a physical pen test, things of this nature. In doing so, it burnt their access to both that building and the previous building, so that entire location is now gone. They did get a few good findings out of it. but due to a few bonehead mistakes in there, such as locking themselves out of the first building and not noticing that a guard is walking behind you while you're trying to push a large piece of furniture or equipment out of the building, is the second one. There's many other issues that we've encountered over the years, or I've encountered or have experienced, or people have told me about physical pen testing. This was just a small little engagement here that I found particularly interesting. Hopefully you did as well. If you did enjoy this story and the other ones I've provided, please hit the like button. If you'd like to hear more of them and be alerted to when they do come out, please hit the subscribe button as well. And as always, thank you and have a great day.